Hey everybody, it's your old pal SimplySuperDave coming at you with another podcast. Another episode of Staying Super with moi, the great one. The original SimplySuperDave. I am not the original Super Dave, of course. If you're old enough to know who Super Dave Osborne is, you're an awesome motherfucker. Okay, I'm just going to say that right now because you need to go look up the old Showtime show, Super Dave Osborne. And that man was hilarious, okay? That's all it is to it. But anyway, I wanted to do this podcast because I'm about to park my vehicle, but I had a thought on my mind, and I just wanted to go ahead and start it right quick. Here is a good old wartime story from the old Simply Super Dave about Blockbuster Video. That's right, Blockbuster Video. Let me tell you, folks, I have a lot of great memories of Blockbuster Video. But I also have a lot of nightmares too. And let me tell you right now, the one thing about Blockbuster Video that was so great is that it was my dip into the retail world. At least it was retail that I loved and dealt with. Okay, I love movies. If you don't know already by now, we did a top 10 movie countdown. We've done all kinds of sort of things dealing with. I have a lot of movie references. It takes up a huge part of my brain that could probably help me do math better, and that way I could probably do better in life itself. But here's one story for you. I was just talking to the checkout guy here at the local Dollar General, and because that's where I shop, and it's too expensive sometimes at the Dollar General. But it brought back memories. I told him about a nightmare I used to have as a manager, because at Blockbuster stayed open 365 days out of the year, and they were open from 10 a.m. until midnight every night, okay? 365 days a year. If the movie theater was open, Blockbuster Video was open, okay? That was the rule. We were right across the street from an AMC movie theater. Actually, my very first girlfriend I ever dated was a ticket person at the AMC place. She worked at the movie theater, and I worked at the video store. So yeah, I went to employee showings of movies before they came out. I was seeing movies before they came out on video. I had it covered, you know. The movie industry is vastly different today. But the nightmare I was telling him about was hilarious because it's almost closing time. And great song, by the way. And my nightmare was as a manager, because that was my first management job, was at a video store. But Blockbuster was different. It was like pandemonium. If you have the memory of being in a semi-large, maybe small store. I mean, because Blockbuster was not your regular video store. It was, when you walked in, it was just a movie paradise, okay? The walls were lined with movies, literally. And then there was aisles, little 4-foot to 6-foot tall aisles of movies on shelves with cover boxes where you could physically look at every movie ever made, basically, in one store. Or at least close to it, you know? You always have those people that come in with an obscure cult film that no one's ever heard of before, and then 20 years down the line it's like got a huge following. That's how movies work, okay? And that's how I love about art, and then you see that in the movie process. Austin Powers is a very good example of a movie that came out and did horribly in the box office, but once it hit video and everybody got to actually watch it, when it came out in theaters the second time, it was a box office hit. So that's a good example of how video stores really changed the video, the market, the rewatchability of all those movies. But my nightmare, back to the nightmare, as a manager in retail business, period, when it was able to close and lock that door to keep those manic people out of the store. And I'm talking about people that will scream at you over a $2 late fee, people that will bang on the window when they're putting a movie in that drop box, the sound of the drop box. Oh my God. If they could make a ringtone of the slot drop of the drop box at Blockbuster, that would horrify any video store employee ever, because we all have it. And but my nightmare was I lock the door, I walk back around the counter, and as I'm pulling the till out of the register, I see someone walk in the door. And I'm like, oh, I just locked the doors. And so I go back to lock the doors again, and then I come back, and, you know, of course, I'm frustrated because now there's somebody in the store, and as a rule, you can't kick them back out, so let them pick out their movie, whatever, so I had to wait. And then if you've been working all evening, and it's midnight, and you know you're not going to leave the store until 2 a.m. because now you got to clean this motherfucker up. And I'm telling you, people tore those motherfucking places apart. It was literally Friday nights was like a fucking rave party at certain times, because you had these hanging TVs that were playing all these clips and sometimes just music videos, because on a Friday night we would pop in those video music. You know, back then MTV was really kind of pushing the edge. The 90s was a crazy time, but you go into a Blockbuster and there's literally 50 to 60 people around a box register area. One side of it, people bringing back movies, just stacks of movies in boxes, and people hanging out on the side waiting for a copy of the hottest one that just came out that week. Like, like In the Line of Fire was one that cracked me up, because me and a buddy, we would have fun with you guys. You know, as employees, we had to have our thing. Besides playing the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, I always think of the European Vacation, the whole Chevy Chase daughter scene where she says sex, and he says, what? And he's like, sex is German for six, Dad. Anyway, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. See what I'm talking about? Just stuff. Why would I remember that? But this is what happens when you're brainwashed for a decade in a video store business. And it was fun. I loved it. I hate that phased out. I think it's a nice physical experience to walk in a movie paradise such as a video store. It sounds so simple and marketing wise, but if you enjoy the magic of movies, then a video store is your dreamland. But yeah, the nightmare was I never could get the door to lock, and then you wake up frantic and then finally realize it's just a dream, and you can go back to sleep and you're not there. And you don't have to face movies and go put up 150 fucking movies in different categories based on if they're a comedy, drama, or an action film, or a family kid classic. And then the kids, oh my God, the fucking Rugrats, the kids corner. You had a little Disney painted section with a TV, and all of them just jungled. I mean, the terror was insane. I mean, cars driving through windows of the store into the comedy section. That happened one time in the middle of a busy night. It's amazing no one got hurt. Customers really upset, left the store, thought they had it in reverse. They hit it, they had it in the drive, and they drove right into the store. So many memories of the video store business, and then I love them. I love all of them. But yeah, like I was telling him, there is the nightmare side, the part that traumatizes you for a long time. And I guess because I do so good being raised by a military. My grandfather was a drill sergeant in the Air Force at one point in time. So I learned to not let what people really say affect me, which made me a pretty good manager, because people would scream and literally yell at me at the top of their lungs over, like I say, a $2 late fee. Instead of being considerate or nice, because I had the power to take that late fee away. I mean, the customer is buying something else. I mean, they're returning, so why not be courteous, and they won't do it again. That's only so many times I'll allow you a late fee. But at the same time, I have that courtesy because I believed in customer service and stuff and all that neat shit that don't exist anymore, I don't think. But needless to say, because money is money, you give a little bit, you get a lot in return. You know what I'm saying? That's how life works, but you got to give a little. If you don't ever give any, if you wait to get something before you give, then you're going to be waiting a very long time. Life doesn't work like that. It takes you making the initiative. Life doesn't come to you. You make life go forward. If you decide to stand still, life continues without you and won't wait for you. It never does. And I loved living in that environment. I loved going through all the torturous things I went through. A customer yelling in my face, but yet still handing them that bag and telling them to have a Blockbuster night was my satisfaction, because I knew everybody was watching me. When you have 50 people at the front register and you're a manager and you have a unruly person in front of you, because you already got people barking at you when the box drop hits. Hey, is that the movie? Is that the movie? It was insane pandemonium, and so I'm telling you, folks, life was crazy in the 90s. It was a time where that's the physicality of life was at its peak and just on the verge of the digital takeover. But a little wartime story for you there. The door's not being able to lock just floodgated a lot of little Blockbuster memories. And since Blockbuster doesn't exist anymore or anything, I figured I'd share a little insight on what it was like on a Friday night at a Blockbuster Video, or on a Saturday night even. And then on a Memorial Day weekend like this weekend, it would be off the hook crazy. I would hate be working right now, but there would be so many insane memories you would never forget. Life sometimes is crazy and hard to deal with in the moment, but when you look back, they create some of the best memories you can ever have. Never take your life for granted, and don't forget all these crazy, wonderful things happen in this country, and the things that are happening right now that are seen so out of control are happening for a reason. And the truth and everything happening is because some people believed in this country enough to die for it, because freedom meant that much to them. Remember that word freedom, and remember it wisely when you criticize somebody else for what they feel or think or express. Remember, you have that freedom to retort. But remember, once you cross that line, it's what you say that determines what others think of you. In other words, folks, be respectful to one another. Try not to be the bad guy or the Billy Badass in all the situations. Being the bigger person sometimes means not saying anything at all, or not giving in to someone else's bait and line. You know what I mean, folks? There's a lot of people out there that are asking you things and engaging because they're ready to argue with you. Ignore those people. Find people that want to have a conversation. It's up to you, folks. Life is all about how you navigate it. It's your bubble, bubbling around with a bunch of other bubbles. Make sure yours don't pop and yours stays strong. Stay positive, and remember, you're going to deal with a lot of hate and fear in your life. The best way to deal with it is with love and laughter. And usually if you can get to that point, that means you have conquered your hate and fear. It never goes away, but you know how to put it in a lock and hold as soon as it shows up. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Don't forget the reason why you get to enjoy it. And don't forget the reason why you are so free and happy today, no matter how miserable you really are. There are people out there that believe in this country, and they sacrificed everything for it, so we can sit here and be our stupid little selves, openly and freely. Love you all, folks. There'll be another podcast down the road. I just felt the spur of the moment, and I hope you have a great weekend.